Hi, welcome back to Garden on the Moors. It's the start of June, which means it's time for the next garden tour. Let's go take a look around. Just to give you a little blue tit update, they're doing absolutely brilliantly. Their parents are both there, coming all the time, and the chicks are going crazy. I think I've got a little clip of the parents going. I don't think you can actually quite hear them though, but hopefully it won't be too long before they fledge. We've had a few changes down in the patio area. So I've put in some of the dicentra, the bleeding hearts that were at the top. So there's one there and another one just down there. They weren't very happy. Oh, and also this astilbe, which is like it looks like candy floss when it's flowering. They weren't particularly happy where I had them at the top. I think there's probably a bit too much sun, so I've moved them down here, where they're getting lots of shade from this magnolia, this tree behind me, and some of the other plants as well, like this hydrangea and the camellia. The laburnum is still flowering. It's been absolutely brilliant. It's flowered for the whole of May. It's been incredible. Coming to an end now, and you might just be able to see some of the flowers turning over to seeds. But absolutely amazing it's been, especially when it's against a blue sky. The green and yellow against that blue has just been amazing. And good news is that my new camellia that I bought has grown loads. All this pale green growth is stuff from this year. So that's a brave bit of growth, considering it's only now the start of June. So hopefully that will grow. Well, we must surely be happy there. So hopefully that will grow nicely. And then my hydrangea, I think this is called Annabelle, is now putting out some flower buds. So hopefully it won't be too long before we get some lovely white flowers. Blackfeed is still going strong. Lots of little things on there, especially sparrows. The sparrow family's been coming down. And the cherry tree has got cherries growing. One there, two tucked away in there. Only a few, but it's only a young tree. This is its second year here. There's another one. Oh yeah, back there. Hopefully we get to try them before the birds eat them, but we'll have to wait and see. And then behind them, I've got some potatoes in pots. They're looking all right, not too shabby. And then just around the way, these Acrolegia or Clumbine have gone over now, but I've planted out some coriander here. Ooh, bit of mess there. Planted out some coriander and also some monarda as well, which is like bergamot flower, but it's a pink one. I do have a red one, but I bought a pink one to mix up a bit. So yeah, we had the coriander last night for tea actually. It was delicious in a fresh salsa. Here's the greenhouse. So you may have seen a couple of weeks ago the foxgloves being sown. Well, I'm pleased to say that they are germinating lovely. So that is the Pamsolite. This is the Sutton's apricot. Germinated nicely. And the lupins have germinated, but they are getting a bit of slug damage, so I don't know if they're going to survive or not. I really don't want to use any slug pellets because of the chickens and the dog, so just have to hope for the best. Pumpkins have germinated, and these squashes are doing amazingly well. I really want to get these in the ground as soon as I can, now that it's June. The courgettes are already out, which we'll see later, but I do want to get these pumpkins and squashes out. The leeks are doing fabulous. So these here are the Northern Lights leeks, which are supposed to be a sort of purpley blue colour. And then these are my old favourites, Musselburgh. I just see them to be a little taller. This one actually probably is about right to go in the ground, but I'm going to wait for the rest of them to catch up. And then the plan is, and also the Swedes are just brilliant. So again, I want to get these in the ground as soon as I can. Most of them will go down to Brandon's grandparents. So yeah, just need to wait for, I'm basically waiting for the leeks to catch up a little more so that then everything can go out at the same time. But I'm thinking it really won't be long before these vegetables go out, which is great. The chard is still just about hanging on there. Got a couple of dahlias left. I think I'm going to put these in pots out the front. And we've got our Romanesco broccolis, which have all germinated, which is fabulous. The tomatoes are not as happy as they were last year, which is a real shame, but I'm hoping that they'll pick up. I've changed sort of how I'm watering them and potted them on again and things like that to hopefully fix them up. But the peppers are doing quite happily, and the figs are there doing nice as well. I do need to get them a feed. But yeah, not doing too bad. So like I said, I'm hoping that the tomatoes will catch up, the leeks will grow a bit more, and then I can get all these vegetables out. And yeah, this is the greenhouse at the start of June. Finding some nice grubs in there. Something I'm really happy with is our Katie apple tree, which has managed to set loads and loads of fruit. This is its second year, so we can let it have some fruit. Probably won't let it have this much fruit because I do want a nice strong tree. So I want it to put as much effort as it can into its roots rather than into fruits just yet. But obviously we'll keep a few so that we can taste them. So that's doing really nicely. The more wilder area, I suppose, of the grass is doing nicely. We've got some interesting flowers coming out. So here we've got a yellow pea called meadow vetchling. That's doing really well. That's taking over this whole area pretty much. And then we've got these are meadow buttercups. Some red clover, which is really good for bees. And I actually found a bumblebee nest the other day. So it was when I was mowing the lawn and they all came over, started going crazy. So hopefully they'll be fine. We've got some knapweed in here. A dog, very excited with his bone. But we've got some knapweed. Yep, hello mate. Oh, there goes the knapweed, never mind. I don't know if you can just about see the leaves there, so that's knapweed. And some yarrow behind. Some more knapweed up there, which is a brilliant plant for flowers. If you ever go into a meadow, a proper wildflower meadow, that's where you find all your butterflies and things like that going crazy. Also, you've got some patches in the grass here which are brown. That is where the daffodils were. So these daffs, these had all browned up, their leaves had browned up, so it was time to cut them back, whereas these ones haven't quite finished yet. So I'm waiting for all these leaves to turn brown. Oh, hello boy. Before I cut them back. They do say to wait 6 weeks and then you can cut them, but I'm not in any great rush, so I might as well just wait for them to actually die completely back, which will then give us the best flowers then. Why not, mate? Something else which is really exciting is all of these raspberries. My God. They're absolutely going crazy. And then none are ready yet. That's as close as we are. So they're getting a pinkish tinge, but none are quite ready at the minute. And there's loads of new growth for next year as well. So new canes for next year, which is brilliant, really exciting. I did give them a top up of some compost around their base. Just they've got some more food to break down. But it's quite rich compost anyways when I planted them, so that's really good. I think it must have been an old border. I think actually, I spoke to the person who lived here a long time ago. They said it was a greenhouse up here, so maybe that's why. We have some compost in the ground. Something that's been really cool at the minute are all these ferns. We've got quite a few. I'll show you some others in a minute, but they are just like beautiful. We didn't plant them, nobody planted them, these are just wild ones. And yeah, they're just, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, they're just as good as any tree fern, but they're actually native, which is brilliant. And then just behind, oh, we actually got some hart's tongue fern there, which is really cool, is my little rowan tree. I love rowan trees. They grow out on the moors and they've got lovely blossom and lovely berries. So I'm trying to get some in the garden to help the wildlife. just that from the raspberries, I'm making a start kind of on this border. So I've planted up the sweet peas here. These were sown a few months ago, a couple of months ago, because we lost the first batch to mice, or probably a mouse really. So these are this year's ones. That's why they're a bit far behind what I'd normally like them to be. I'd normally like them to be almost flowering by now, but they'll just flower a bit later, so that's absolutely fine. This foxtail lily is shooting up a flower spike, so I'm really looking forward to seeing that. I've got some more of that Monarda bergamot thing there, some Cosmea lucifer. I want this to be quite tall flowers along this wall. I still like you to be able to see the wall behind, but sort of through flowers is the plan. So that's why I've gone for quite tall plants, and this pear tree, same reason. Got another little foxtail lily there, shooting up 2 flower spikes, and some more Cosmea. And we've got another gorgeous fern. Ferns grow really well here because of how damp we are. I mean, look at the size of these ones. Absolutely enormous. And I love the look of tree ferns, but obviously they're quite sad because of, you know, they don't really grow very quick, so they're just harvested from the wild. So I'd rather just keep them there, to be honest. But yeah, so that's this corner at the start of June. Now, something that is doing brilliantly is the flower bed. I'm so happy with this scabious. Absolutely gorgeous. And there you go, the bees love it. We've got some Solomon seal finishing off there, and the little red hot poker behind. This peony just opened yesterday. All these flowers only opened just I think this is Bowl of Beauty, but look in there, it's absolutely gorgeous. So happy there. We only got 1 flower last year. This year, 4. So that's brilliant. So it means it's really happy. Just as I've got another iris, and this iris has been just amazing. It has so many flowers. I think this is the first one I actually got and added to the garden back in 2020, and God, yeah, just absolutely brilliant. Such a nice iris, and we've been including it all the time, showing it off to all our friends, and we've got several friends actually want a piece of it, so be warned. This lovely foxglove, this is just like a wild one that's come in by itself. This is just stunning. Loads of things growing really well. Got my little hardy geraniums there doing nicely, but best of all, the roses have opened. This is Lady of Shalott, a gorgeous apricot orange, which looks great next to the pink of the peonies and the scabious, and I think it's a smell. Oh yeah, just a light smell. Delish. It's quite soft in compared to some of our roses, but it's still nice to have a smell. And then just the side of it, we've got Golden Celebration, which was one we had at Brandon's grandparents' garden. This one does smell amazing. You can smell it from a mile away. Just walking past, you can smell this rose. That's looking absolutely brilliant. People say, when's the best time for when's the best look for a rose? Is it now when it's a bud? Or is it when it's open? Up to you. I like them both, to be honest with you. We've got another little red hot poker there, just to the side of our Golden Celebration rose. And then I think this is one of the Pam's Delight foxgloves. I was expecting them to be a bit more blended, the purple, but it's still really pretty foxglove. Just as I've got more rose buds and lots more plants coming out, getting ready to go. You may have seen, I think it's last video, us planting out the dahlias. Well, here they are, a little while later, doing really, really well. Still growing strong, and hopefully we'll have some flowers before you know it. But what's really surprised me is how much the overwintered dahlias have grown, how tall they are. These dark bronzy purple leaved ones I left in the ground, and they're doing even better than the ones I overwintered. So what I'm probably going to do is leave most of my dahlias in the ground next year and just take a few out as a insurance policy. I know it was a really mild winter this year, but you know, if they're actually better in the ground, then why take them out? Over here we've got daylily, different gladiolus and crocosmia. I think that's my echinacea. We'll soon see when it's flowering. But yeah, flower bed is doing amazingly, especially the roses and the irises. I don't know if you remember those weeks ago that we sowed those peas directly. Well, here they are flowering, which is brilliant news. Hopefully it won't be too long before we actually get some peas we can eat. But they're doing fantastic. I've got the succession down the end. I should zoom in, hopefully you can see them, just about. So they are about a month or so behind, so then hopefully we'll have a long pea season, which will be brilliant. The garlics are still going strong, they're starting to brown up now. I'll be harvesting them this month, all being well. What I'll wait to do is wait for them to brown up and then lift the bulbs and dry them. Some of these onions are getting ready as well, they're bulbing up, lovely job. So those bigger ones are the overwintered ones, and what I'll probably do is just start eating them soon. So we won't buy any onions or garlic from now on from the shop. Just whenever we need an onion, I'll just pick it out of the ground, and then once the stem bends over, it means it's time to dig them up. But for now, I'll just keep them in there and they'll be absolutely fine to cook with. It's what we normally do, and we've been fine since. More garlics there. Then I've got my little pickling onions along here, which have done brilliantly. This is the best I've ever seen them. Whenever I've grown them, they haven't been all that good, but they've been really good this year. More onions. The carrots have come up lovely. I'll probably need to net these at some point. It's on my list of jobs to do, is put a little net over them. Just a little one, because there isn't much room. But obviously the potatoes are taking over the show at the minute. They're doing brilliantly. Be a little while before we harvest them, I think, but probably I'm thinking the end of this month will be time for them to harvest. A lot changes, everything changes so quickly at this time of year. In here we've got our broccolis, which you can hopefully just about make out under the netting. So these are the Calabrese broccoli. They're doing really, really well, which I'm happy with. And then my courgettes are out in the ground as well too, just so they can get going whenever they're ready. So I've got the different varieties together. We've got the piccolo, which is like a round one, golden sun, which is a yellow one, corcazelle, what's it called? And Lyria, which are like normal-ish looking ones. There's Penny. Wendy and Dot down in the corner by the Japanese maples. They've settled in really, really nicely. I'm so happy with how they've settled in. One thing I'm really happy with is this apple tree that I got over winter. So I took out the top with the hope of making it split sort of into make a nice goblet shape, and it's done exactly what I was hoping. I couldn't honestly have designed it better. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all in a nice circle around the clock face to make my nice goblet shaped tree, which will just be perfect. It did actually have some fruit on it, but I've picked them all off because I want to focus on putting out roots and putting out growth. That's what I want to focus on. But it's good. But it's good because it means that you know, when it is ready to, when I am ready for it to flower, to fruit, it will. You know, it is going to be pollinated. You know, lots of our neighbours have trees, and we have the tree, and I got this one because it has a crossover with our Katie. So yeah, really, really happy with it. I just can't believe how well that's done. there we are. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe for more. And we'll see you again next time. Cheers. What have you got?